I'm sorry, the title is quite catchy, but it's working because you are here, so I'm happy. So today we are talking about some modern data engineering concepts, okay, some ideas, some kind of stuff. And yes, I'm Andrea Guzzo. I'm a machine learning engineer in DPI and one of the organizers of Python Biella group. Okay, it's a user group in Italy, in Biella actually. I'm sorry, it's in Italian, the group, but okay. Yes, thank you guys, really thank you to be here. And today I will be speaking about some data engineering concepts. I would start by explaining a bit what is data engineering. I'm sorry Carlo, about these kind of things. But so data engineering, I would say it's a process of data collection, transformation, integration, and validation. And this work in companies, okay, it's really, really important because we need to have some data always available, consistent, reliable, accurate, okay, with a good quality. And also, it's really important to have sustainable pipelines for analysis activities inside, like business intelligence to machine learning and whatever. Okay, some activities of a data engineer, okay, probably you know, identification of data sources for analysis needs, transformations, and qualification of the data, you know, ATL, extract, transform, load, or LT processes. And one data engineer need to design databases, okay, suitable for the use of the data, and designing scalable, secure, monitorable, and schedulable processing pipelines. A lot of words. Okay, but first of all, we need to speak about business. And so data engineering, actually, it's really, really important because each company is really unique because it has unique people and unique data. And I think this concept is really, really important. And one other key points are data are worth more than objects than create them. The information extracted is worth more than the data, another really important aspect, okay? And of course, knowledge is worth more than information. And the wisdom derived is invaluable, okay? I want to really thank Stefano Gatti, Alberto Danese for this beautiful book that I want to suggest to you. I think it's only in Italian. I don't know if they're planning to translate in English also. And La Cultura del Dato, it's a book about speaking about this kind of things in a company, more in a manageable way, okay? So every company actually is a data analytics company. So it's really important to have and build modern data engineering pipelines and modern data engineering, concepts with technologies to have to achieve these goals and this important stuff. And of course, who control the spice, control the universe, I'm quite a nerd, sorry. Okay, so we'll speak about briefly about types of architecture in data engineering. Okay, I try to condense everything together in a single slide. It's quite hard, but okay. So we have two main approach in companies, from small to large companies. We have the on-premises approach, okay, with traditional pipelines like DBs and whatever. And of course, we have data warehouse concepts. And of course, we move to the cloud with data lake concepts and data mesh also architectures. And but today we'll speak about hybrid approach. Okay, hybrid approach means you keep your data in your on-premises services, in your on-premises server. Okay, so the data storage is on-premises. Okay. And from mixing sources also from your server to I don't know, maybe some cloud resources or websites to crawl, and of course all the computation can be done in cloud or whatever. Okay, and one other really important aspect is to try to move only necessary data. Okay, not keep all the data in cloud. Why? Because it's cost a lot of money, okay? Moving a lot of data and a lot of informations. And but remember one important thing that I really want to point. It's first the business, then some research questions, then the team, okay, so the skills that you need to build everything here, and finally the tech. I'm sorry, I'm a nerd, so every time I start with the tech and then finally go to the business, but we have to try to do both. Okay, so about today, I want to show you a small example on how a sustainable and Pythonic data engineering architecture can be implemented, okay, to solve a specific and simple problem. We want to try to understand how the Italian Lombardy healthcare system is working, okay, using open data. This is a project that we've done in Python Bella Group nights, okay, on our free time. And with these tech ideas in mind, we want to build an end-to-end from data to dashboards pipeline with only Python, okay, without any other technologies. And we want to create something easy scalable without a vendor lock-in, probably, because we use Airflow, so we are using a tool. And as I said, yes, same technology with one language and one interoperability, high interoperability of every system, and of course, open source. Modern technologies and with the possibility to go easily in productions, so not working only in my machine. So hopefully the Wi-Fi is working, so I want to show you some demos in cloud. And okay, all the data for this application, it's crawled and downloaded from datilombardia.it. It's an open data site of the Italian Lombardy region, okay, with this kind of informations like hospital performances, georeferencing facilities, health condition by province, population Lombardy, and hospital master data. And I really want to thank my fellow adventurer, Davide Raghi. In this situation, I'm a machine learning engineer, but I've done the data engineering part, and he is data engineer, and he's done the data science part, okay, in this example. Okay, if you want to check it, there is our GitHub repository. All the code is free, you can use it. Please ask everything to ask if you saw something weird. Okay, so our hybrid realistic architecture that we have built here. So we have some couple of different sources, okay? We have an Azure internal SQL DB, okay, with some informations. We have some API, Socrates API coming from open source Lombardy data, okay? And we have done some web scraping with Selenium. We have Azure Blob Storage and some CSV. And we use Apache Airflow to do some orchestrations, okay, to launch pipelines, to create an Azure SQL database with all the informations that we need to create a dashboard with Streamlit, okay? So everything here is created with Python. Okay, so some briefly stuff about Apache Airflow. We've done some Docker installation in a machine. I'll show you in a couple of minutes. You have a guy monitoring. You can have some DAGs, okay, and some operator. We use some bash operators, Python operators, and sensors. And with Airflow, you can schedule some pipelines and some tasks. And we used some XCOM stuff to dialogue between tasks, okay? One task can dialogue with another, passing some variables and some ideas, variables. And you can use also plugins to extend capabilities. And we decided to use Streamlit because it's easy to develop a data and machine learning app, but also some generic prototypes. Another good tool is Plotly Dash if you want to use Python, but of course you have to write some HTML code. And you can use also famous plot libraries like Plotly, Matplotlib, Seaborn, and it has a caching system, and we modify Streamlit to have a multi-page layout. I will show you a couple of minutes. And now it's part of Snowflake, so it's not a fully open source project, and we are really happy about this because maybe we will be the more sustainable product in a couple of years. Okay, so ready. I have a small demo with all the code. I don't know if you can see everything. Hope so. Okay. So, okay. This is Airflow. Probably you know this interface. Okay. In this interface, we have some different DAGs. Okay. And for example, I open these DAGs here. I know it's failing, as you can see, the hour of last night trying to solve the problems. It's demo effect. So we have this DAG here, okay. As I said, we do some extraction, okay, of the data. We are trying to look if the data are extracted, okay, with some sensors. With the sensor, you can see if the data is already in a file system or not. And then you can check and launch some mid task and then save the results to a database. As I said, it's a database on Azure, okay? And also the same flow for population data and performance data, okay? This is an example. We have other examples if you want to check. And this is our small application that we are building. Okay, it's not finished. We are building during the night these applications. And yes, in Italian, sorry, I didn't have the time to translate. But as you can see, there are some overview about Lombardy hospital ideas, okay, about data. So we have some counting on the type of hospital. We have some type of emergency level that they are doing, okay? And the life expectancy for the province of Milano and the mortality taxes. And of course, we have some map on leaflet when you can see all the hospital structures that they are in Lombardy, actually, okay? Okay. How can you do all these kind of things? I just want to go on the code. So actually, I'm working on a remote machine with VS Code. It's our Contabo Python Biela group machine. So I'm working remotely and open some ports with port forwarding to go inside the machine. And okay, so we have this DAG. As I told you, it's really easy to create some DAGs in Airflow. You just define a DAG, okay? And you can define some operators and some arguments. And you can create some Python or Bash operator to do what? To launch some tasks, some functions. For example, launch blob. It's the function to download information from a blob storage. We use the Azure libraries, okay? And as you can see here, after every tasks and every activity, we push with the xcom push, the variable, the name of the file. So at the end of the pipeline, the extract.db can know the name of the dataset that we extract without using a file or whatever. And okay, so and then we have some sensors. Okay, the sensors are trying to look the data if they are downloaded. Okay, in the machine, so you can actually see if the data are extracted or not. If they're not extracted, you raise an error. Also, we linked here Slack bot to have some alerting on a Slack channel if something is failing. Okay. It's something really easy that you can do very quickly, actually. And of course, here there are the DAGs, actually. So how the DAGs are created in this example. So for example, start operator, run the extractor for hospitals. We check if the file is existing, and then we save the results to the DB. Okay? And as I told you, everything is in Docker, okay? So probably it's too slow to... okay? Everything is in Docker, so it's running in our machine, okay? It's a small cluster, but you can actually extend this example. You can download and extend also in production for you, for your companies or your work. And okay, and here also in the same repository, we keep all the user interface stuff with Streamlit. And I want to go really briefly about how we use Streamlit. We actually created a template for doing what? For doing multi-page application. So if I go there, okay, this is Streamlit. I can click, for example, the home page, okay? This is another page, actually. So we are creating this kind of template to have multiple page and multiple views for the user. So if I come back to the review page, I would see some, yeah, the plots before. And, okay, and Streamlit, it's actually quite really easy to develop. So we have a pages folder where inside we have all the pages and all the layout that we are using, okay? And we have this multi-page component. It's a class to manage all the pages inside the Streamlit user interface. Okay. Just one last thing that I want to show you, it's everything here in the Airflow folder, okay, DAGs folder, okay, it's mounted inside the Docker containers. So if you change something here, for example, I want to change here this code to check if a variable is existing or not, okay, I can launch this code here, okay, and I will take this code here, okay. Yes, please connection, help me, okay. Okay, so I modified some code, and if I go actually direct to my pipelines, and if I launch these kind of things, as you can see, there is my new tasks, okay, created there. So you can actually create a repository, okay, with all your DAGs and your plugins in Airflow, and you can actually modify stuff there, and everything is loaded live here. So variable check is just a simple Python operator that check if a variable is existing or not, okay? But in this case, I have to create a new variables. I don't remember the name. Variable check, okay. State test, I think, okay. And if I create a variable here, I think it's testone, test1, okay. And if I go back to my DAGs and launch everything, I don't know, it's a demo effect, guys. We'll try to launch. Okay, if I launch again my DAGs, hopefully here on the variable check, okay, it's failing because maybe it's not calling like that. I don't remember the name. Okay. Variable task ID, check variables. Test1, okay. Oh, there's another variable that I have to add, probably. Let me modify this. Okay, we'll come back here, rerun, and if I launch again, hopefully it's working. No. Okay, no, okay, never mind. It's just the live stuff that I want to show you, but it's okay. So the main idea here is to give you the main idea of that you can modify some stuff live on the pipeline, and actually you can run everything in the DAGs again. Just next step and some ideas. We are working on DAGs, as I show you, in a separate space, okay? We want to use also our packages inside the DAGs. This is something that we are doing in MDPI, actually. So we are creating a data connector package with Python and inside this package we have all the SQL queries and all the SQL data stuff, okay? we have the Slack alerting and external alerting, and we want to create some DAG template with YAML files, okay, without typing a lot of code. And why not going to Kubernetes to scale out this cluster? And of course, the most important thing, it's really possible to create on a hybrid solution with Python, really easy, okay, to scale from startup to large companies also, with Python, Apache Airflow, or whatever framework you want to use, okay, to cover all the data process in a sustainable way, and also to solve, why not, complex problems, okay? So probably you have to do this kind of thing. It's just like that, okay? You don't have to buy a lot of tools to do this kind of operations, okay? I don't know, depends on your scale of companies, of course, and the numbers of data that you have. Okay, thank you all. I'm finished, and those are some informations about Python Biela Group and this kind of stuff that we are doing and we are developing. Everything is open source. We are small communities, but we are really happy to be here. And thank you so much, guys. This is my link if you want to reach me and talk with me, and also the link of the repository of this talk. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. We do have indeed many questions.
Okay.
Thank you for posting those. Well, the first one is actually if the demo is on GitHub.
Oh, yes. Yes.
The link is linking to the GitHub.
Yes,
then?
it's the link to the GitHub.
Okay, brilliant.
To GitHub. Yes, no, GitHub.
GitHub. Okay.
GitHub.
Yeah, the question was if that was on GitHub.
Okay, yes, on GitHub, yes.
So the answer is yes. Good. First one done. Second is, how about testing pipelines? Can you suggest a methodology or tips? And then there was, thanks very much for the talk.
Oh, yes. So there are a lot of different ways on tests that you can do here. I don't know if I have something here, probably in the other repo that we are working. But one thing that we are doing, actually, it's not testing Airflow directly, okay? We are trying to do these kind of things. But one thing that we are doing here, we are using Poetry to create the environment. We are testing all the Python components before going to Airflow, okay? So we're doing unit test, integration test before, okay? As I said, in our Python package or our Python code that you can see here in the DAGs, okay? Yes, you can also use some Airflow to test, some Airflow DAGs to test stuff, but now here we are trying to develop some unit test and on the Python code. But yes, you can, of course.
And I think a related question is, how do you manage failures when ingesting data from external sources, for example, APIs in Airflow?
That's a good question. Actually, so for example, yesterday night, we lost the connections to Azure because we don't pay the bills, okay? We didn't pay the bills, so yes, imagine, okay? One idea is to have some caching layers, okay? And you can actually cache some stuff, some data maybe somewhere, or you have, depending on the type of application you are building. We are building bash operators, okay, with scheduling pipelines. We are not building something live online, okay? So if you are doing something online, probably there's no solution. You have to work on the remote repository. But you can add a cache layer and try to use a cache layer, maybe. It's a solution, I don't know.
Brilliant. Now we move on to the deployment questions. Okay. And the first one is, how do you deploy this to the cloud? Or are you running this on a virtual machine with Airflow running with syncs to your repo, maybe?
Okay, so actually here it's a Contabo machine. It's our machine of Python Biela Group, so it's not on my PC. But of course you can, for example, if you have Kubernetes, you can have Helm charts, or you can have, I don't know, Kubernetes, YAML files to deploy all the containers that you have. Here it's the repository with all the Docker files. And everything is customized because we want to use Poetry to install libraries inside our containers. Okay, so in pyproject.tom, as you can see, there is the requirements. So we created our images to install all the dependencies and libraries inside the container. Okay, and of course you can take these containers and deploy whatever you want. Why not? Okay, on some services or whatever.
So I think this also answers the question about scalability. So you're suggesting Kubernetes in that case?
Oh, yes. I mean, depending on the size of the company. So probably you don't need a bigger boat to solve simple problems. But if you have small data, I would say terabytes of data, it's okay. You can just, for example, in Docker Compose, create some other services like the scheduler. Okay, you can increase the number of workers that you have here, and of course a machine. This is a machine with 30 gigs of RAM. With this machine, you can manage terabytes of data, depending on the type of applications and whatever you're using. Okay.
I'm now going into asking questions specifically about Airflow. The
Okay.
one is whether Airflow supports cache or caching between tasks in a DAG, and if so. So if I change a task, can I skip all the previous ones in the DAG without recomputing? That's very technical.
Okay. Actually, I think one of the best way of doing this kind of thing is cache on some file system or external sources. For example, you can cache on blob storage, for example, okay, temporary storage, when you can cache some things and you can grab things from the blob storage or an external source and then move. You cannot actually move stuff between one task to another. Okay, you cannot move a data set from one task to another. For example, if I do some pandas computations or some pandas calculations, I cannot move things to the other task. Okay, but I have to pass, for example, from an external source or I would say a file system, CSV or whatever. Okay, but you can just dialogue between with XCOM variables, as I show you. But actually, I never have done some cache. Yes, you have Redis, actually. Maybe you can implement something on Redis, of course. And yeah, I think those are some ideas that you can use, okay?
And there's another question asking you, how would you integrate streaming pipelines within Airflow?
Okay, streaming pipelines, you mean to go, I don't know, to go online on a Streamlit cloud, maybe?
I believe that was, yeah, go ahead.
What I mean is that currently all the operators are pulling all the set of
Okay.
data. So I was wondering how you integrate mixing pulling data with something that is pushing data into your data fabric.
Okay, so actually, I'm doing here a push, okay, in the DB. If you look here, the task, I don't know if I have time to show you, but okay, if I go here on the last layer, for example, save results to DB, okay, insert DB actually, okay, here I'm establishing a connection, and okay, here I'm using a data frame go to SQL, okay.
I'm thinking about, for example, some external API pushing data into you, for example.
Okay, I mean, you have Python. You can create an operator with Python code to push stuff inside your APIs or Streamlit. You can do whatever you want. I mean, when you have Python below, you can actually do. You are speaking about one pre-built components, maybe, that they are doing this operation, or?
Yeah. I mean that currently it's a graph where all the steps are predefined. So
Okay.
it's like a cycle and all the steps are one step, right? When you have like a streaming input,
Okay.
you don't have any more this type of concept of run stuff in steps because the input is streaming.
Okay.
So I was wondering whether Airflow was supporting something like this, or if you need to first get the data in streaming and push it into a temporary database and then pull them with it from Airflow.
I mean, yeah, you have some operators that you can use, of course, but I think one of the best solution is you have Python, so you can do, you can do a task with a scraper with Selenium and launch scraping with Selenium and test your web application using Selenium, for example. I mean, you can do whatever. it seems you have Python below. Okay.
Brilliant. I don't think we have more time for questions. I'm sorry for those those questions not have been answered, but I do recommend checking out with the speaker on Discord if you want to follow on some of the questions I didn't ask him directly. And thank you very much for the question for the talk.
Thank you guys.